Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to the segment called Top List. It's pretty self-explanatory. I do a top 5 or a top 10 or a top 20 about something comic book related. Today we're going to do the top 5 reveals at San Diego Comic-Con 2018. First off, I got 2 things I want to mention. Yes, it took me forever to make this video, but I'm a very busy guy. But hey, better late than never. And number 2, these top lists are usually my own opinion, but this time I crowdsourced it with a poll that anyone could have voted on that was posted at the Google group Facts. Full disclosure, I am a moderator at the Facts group. FACT stands for First Appearance, Comics, Trends, and Speculation. I asked the question, what were the 5 biggest reveals at San Diego Comic-Con? And the top 5 that I'm listing here is the result of that vote. And by the way, if you want to get involved with the discussions at the Facts group, I'll put a link in the description. There's also a group that I moderate called SIT, which stands for Speculate, Invest, and Collect. Both of those groups go deeper into investment than I do at this channel. So if you're interested in investing, make sure you show up at those groups. But for now, let's get started with the top 5 Comic-Con reveals. Number 5. DC decides to call their movie universe the Worlds of DC. So what does that phrase mean? Actually, it means that they're waving the white flag and giving up on the connected universe. And they will still do superhero movies, but they'll be in their own continuity, in their own little mini universes, and they don't have to connect to each other. Unless you're a DC diehard, then it's pretty obvious that Batman vs. Superman was awful and Justice League was downright terrible. Zack Snyder cut or no Zack Snyder cut. A couple of months ago, they hired a guy named Walter Hamada who made his name as a producer on horror films, so he's the guy in charge. It's not Jeff Johns, who, by the way, is getting the opportunity to do a Green Lantern project. I've already spoke my piece on it several times. They should cancel everything except for Wonder Woman and just reboot it completely and try again. The merger of AT&T and Warner Brothers has been approved, and that's going down right now actually. I still can't believe how royally they have screwed this up. They started out with every advantage. Unlike Marvel, they own all their characters free and clear, and they're not being held hostage at other studios. And on the Mount Rushmore of comic book characters, DC has 3 of them, and DC owns the movie rights 100% without any interference. The other, of course, is Spider-Man, which is owned by Sony and not Marvel, and they had to jump through all types of hoops just to game him the MCU. So how could one company with so many advantages fail so badly, and one company that has so many things sabotaged against it, Fox owning the X-Men universe and Sony owning the Spider-Man universe, continue to win Super Bowl after Super Bowl? Every person at Warner Brothers, vice president or higher, should be fired. How embarrassing. I'm disgusted just talking about it. Best of luck to DC and their upcoming projects. I'll be talking about some of them soon. Number 4. In the upcoming Venom movie, Venom has no Spider-Man symbol on his chest. Both Tom Hardy and the director of the movie came to Comic-Con, and they discussed many things about the upcoming movie, and one of them was no Spider-Man symbol, which actually makes sense. In the comic book continuity, Venom gets his costume as a living symbiote, which once belonged to Spider-Man, which he got during the Secret Wars crossover. Of course, he gets rid of it because it's trying to turn him evil, and the symbiote, rejected, bonds with Eddie Brock. Remember, Spider-Man and the complete Spider-Man universe belongs to Sony, and they can do whatever they want to do, and they're not using that storyline as the origin of this Venom. And they pretty much confirmed that Venom will not be fighting Spider-Man in this, so that whole Spider-Man thing on the chest doesn't make sense. It makes sense for them not to use it. Personally, I think that Sony is trying to get the Venom too fast. They had the perfect opportunity to set it up later when Peter Parker comes back after Infinity War. He could have got that symbiote when he was on that planet fighting Thanos and brought it back with him, and then they could have set up Eddie Brock, and then they could have set up Venom, but they probably had to wait about 3 or 4 years, and Sony wants to do it right now. And don't get me wrong, the trailers look great for Venom, but you don't know what the final project will be. They better not screw this up. This means you, Sony. Number 3. Nightwing says F Batman. If you didn't know, Nightwing is Dick Grayson, the original Robin, the orphan kid that Batman brings into his home and trains him, shows him how to be a superhero, and becomes a father figure to him. And how does he repay Batman? By saying F Batman? It must be that Batman slapping Robin meme that's been floating around for years. I guess that he wants to flip that like this. Let me catch you up to what's been going on if you don't know. The Titans, based on the characters from the Teen Titans from Marv Wolfman and George Perez are going to have a live-action web series from Warner Brothers, and it will be nothing like the Teen Titans Go animated series, which is very lighthearted and jokey and for a very young audience. This live-action Titans is going to be very dark and gritty, with a very high level of violence like on the Netflix series you see from Marvel. However, the reaction at Comic-Con was very negative from the footage they showed. It's like they're trying too hard to be dark and gritty. It looked like a Saturday Night Live skit that's spoofing the Titans instead of an official trailer. They already had some bad PR before because the first images of Starfire leaked and it got the big thumbs down from the internet. It was explained that the context of this photo was that the character was going to a costume party. So we got this image with some CGI showing what she looks like powered up, but still it's okay, I guess. And of course, the reason why we're here, Nightwing saying F Batman, that just seems so out of character. Who's writing this stuff? Who approved this at DC? Marvel failed when they tried to get the Inhumans off the ground in live action, but that's okay because Marvel doesn't have that many failures. DC has multiple failures, so they can't afford to have another. I'll just say it now, I do not feel good about Titans. I hope it's good. I will give it a chance, but it's not looking good early. Number 2. The Image Comics title Monstress dominates the Eisner Awards. If you're not familiar with Monstress, it was first launched in winter of 2015. It's a horror, sci-fi, fantasy title published by Image, and it's one of my favorite ongoing titles. It has an all-female creative team with Marjorie Liu writing it, who is a Chinese American, and Sana Takeda drawing it, and she is Japanese. And in 2018, it took home 5 Eisner Awards, including Best Writer for Marjorie Liu. And this is history that's been made because she's the first woman to win this coveted award. And that puts her name next to royalty like Brian K. Vaughan and Jason Aaron. So besides Best Writer for Marjorie Liu, Monstress also won for Best Continuing Series, Best Publication for Teens ages 13 to 17, Best Painter or Multimedia Artist for Sana Takeda, and Best Cover Artist for Sana Takeda again. I've been saying this for a long time that Monstress is the next Saga, and like Saga, it's a great read you can't put down, and in terms of investing, it's a real good investment too. 9.8 CGCs were selling for about $150. They're around about $200 right now, but they're going to continue to go up because this massive victory at the Eisner Awards is going to bring in a bigger fan base. I advise you get the trade paperback of the first 4 issues collected so you know what's going on. It's a tremendous read, and it's what comics are all about. The best modern science fiction is coming out of that medium. Before we reveal number 1, let's look at some honorable mention nominees. Music, please. Andrew Lincoln, the actor that plays Rick Grimes in the ultra-successful The Walking Dead television show, will be leaving the show. Personally, I think they should wrap it up once they get to season 10. The show way overachieved what anyone could ever imagine. Characters like Rick Grimes, Michonne, and Negan became household names. And the comic book source material is still great, but the television show, I think it's had enough. They should leave while it's on top. Marvel came to Comic-Con and offered grief counseling for those who were traumatized by the end of Infinity War. They actually had actors there at their booth who were actually giving counseling to people under the hashtag group hug. Of course it was a joke, but it was a very funny way of promoting the Blu-ray for home video for Infinity War. James Gunn, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise with Marvel, was fired for inappropriate comments on Twitter he made a long time ago. I talked about this in detail in the quick flip from August 1st, link in the description. World of Wakanda, a Black Panther miniseries spin-off, won an Eisner for Best Limited Series. It gives us some backstory on the behind the scenes of the training of the Dora Milaje, Black Panther's all-female security force and mercenaries, and had a very significant role in the live-action movie. The miniseries was controversial for a lesbian romantic subplot, but the real story was it was the first major comic to win an Eisner with an all African-American creative team. The names involved are scrolling right now. Alright, that wraps up the honorable mentions. Let's get to number 1. Number 1. DC gave us a trailer of Shazam, and it was actually pretty good. Shut me up. Here's a little context if you're just catching up. Several leaks came out of Shazam that was in production and they did not look too spiffy. The cape, the boots, it looked like a complete train wreck. And I was one of the leading critics about it. I had a whole video about how I was criticizing how bad it looked. It was my most viewed video ever, link in the description. But in the trailer, we had some CGI to make it look better. They fixed the boots and a couple of other things. And they established a tone, which basically is going to be like the new 52 version of Shazam. It's going to be the ultimate ultimate wish fulfillment type of movie, like what a kid would do if he was about 12 to 13 years old and got superpowers. It's gonna be like the Tom Hanks movie Big, but with superpowers. And I gave this trailer 2 thumbs up. The trailer was not only entertaining, but it gave us some context of the Shazam universe that they're presenting. Now, once again, a great trailer does not mean a great movie, so we still have to see what they're going to do. But this comes out in spring of 2019. That's about it today. Thank you for watching this. Please post your feedback in the comment section. I encourage everyone that watches my videos and subscribes to voice your opinion, even if you don't agree with me. It's fine. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye.